You're listening to the micro version of the Savage Lovecast, www.savagelovecast.com.
If you're stuck in a relationship quandary, or if you're looking for sexual harmony, well, there's nothing you can't ask on the Savage Lovecast.
I guess this shouldn't come as a surprise at this stage, but a bearded man in a turban was attacked by two men yelling, "Go back to your country." Happened in California last week, and the attack, which police are investigating as a hate crime, appears to have been politically motivated. The victim, Surjit Mali, is a member of the Sikh community and was putting up campaign signs in his community when he was assaulted. Sikh men wear turbans. Here's the plot twist, though. Mali was putting up campaign signs in support of Republican candidates. And one Republican congressman, Jeff Denham, a big supporter of ICE, who votes with Trump 97.8% of the time, putting up campaign signs for Denham at the time of the attack. Over to you, CBS Sacramento.
Mali has been active in the community for years, well known, raising thousands for homeless and fire victims, hauling supplies through his trucking company. A strong supporter of the Republican Party, the campaign signs that night for Congressman Jeff Denham and other members of the Stanislaus County GOP.
I'm American 100%, no doubt.
As for his attackers that night,
if you're real American, you love America, you should not do that. That is not American way.
Mali is an American citizen, a naturalized American citizen with brown skin and an accent. And he represents for many on the right the demographic changes that our country has undergone over the last few decades that has Laura Ingraham and the rest of the white nationalists at Fox News so concerned. Says he's American. I'm with you. You are an American. Also a Republican. And I'm just curious if Mr. Mali is paying attention to what the Trump administration is up to, the way they're targeting other brown people in this country to please Laura Ingraham and the rest of the white nationalists at Fox News and the white nationalists and white supremacists who work in the Oval Office. I've been keeping a running list. In November of 2017, the Trump administration kicked 59,000 displaced Haitian earthquake victims out of the country. Also in November of 2017, Trump administration ends protections for thousands of Nicaraguan immigrants. January of this year, Trump orders 200,000 Salvadorans to leave the United States. March of this year, Trump gives Liberian immigrants 1 year to leave the United States or face deportation. April of 2018, Trump administration moves to deport thousands of Nepalis in the United States on temporary residency permits. Also in April, more migrants may face deportation as Trump weighs ending temporary protections for Hondurans. I don't know. Seems to me that there's a pattern of racial animus at work there. Maybe an effort, not even an effort they're trying to conceal, to de-brown this country. On top of all of these other attacks on specific groups of brown people who happen to be in this country, we have the Trump administration's attacks on Dreamers, DACA recipients. We have efforts to limit and roll back legal immigration. And now we have a denaturalization task force that's going to strip American citizens, 100%, no doubt American citizens, of their citizenship and throw them out of the country. So what's the goal here? The targeting of Salvadorians and Nicaraguans and Haitians and Dreamers and Liberians. It's not about making America greater or safer. Immigrants are less likely to commit violent crime, or richer. Immigrants enrich this country. It's about making America whiter. Donald Trump, Stephen Miller, John Kelly, Paul Ryan, and Mitch McConnell all hope to make America as white as possible for as long as possible. This is a campaign being waged by the White House to de-brown this country by throwing people like Mr. Mali out of it. Irving Kristol famously and fatuously described a conservative as a liberal who has been mugged by reality. You would think our new reality, the racist rhetoric and racist policies of our racist president, and the racist hatred unleashed by our racist president's racist rhetoric and racist policies, would have figuratively mugged Mr. Mali a long time ago, maybe before a pair of violent racist assholes who are, without a doubt, supporters of Donald Trump and his racist policies got around to literally jumping him. The fact that Molly was still a Republican 19 months into Trump's first and please God only term makes the next plot twist in this story not nearly so shocking. He says he won't let the beating get him down, CBS Sacramento reports, and he will continue to place campaign signs and support the GOP. All right, coming up on today's show, Erica Moen from Oh Joy Sex Toy joins us to give us a sex toy recommendation and review, plus tons of your questions and lots of my answers. This episode of the Savage Lovecast is brought to you by Aptiv. Aptiv produces audio-based workouts created by certified personal trainers, available through a mobile app. New members get 30% off an annual membership. Visit aptiv.com/savage. That's AAPTIV.com/savage. This episode of the Savage Lovecast is brought to you by Boll and Branch, luxury, affordable, fair trade certified sheets. Get $50 off a set of sheets plus free shipping by going to bollandbranch.com and entering SAVAGE. This episode of the Savage Lovecast is brought to you by Everlane, luxury basic clothing and accessories made at ethical factories without those retail markups. For free shipping and to support the Lovecast, go to everlane.com/savage.
Hi, Dan. I'm a 28-year-old cisgender female living on the east side of the country. I recently got back from a road trip where I binged on your past 4 or 5 episodes, and one that sticks with me is the woman who said she was sexually assaulted after receiving a text message, and you kind of defined the situation for her. And I was wondering if I could get help with that, get your insight and definition of a situation that had happened with me. This was about 10 years ago, and the reason that I would like, I guess, more insight now is because I'm thinking about confronting this individual. When I was 18, I had a situation with my brother's friend where I was drunk and went to bed in one bedroom. When I woke up, I was in the friend's bedroom, completely naked, and he was already touching, fondling me, penetrating me with his fingers. At that point, I kind of came to, and he had asked if it was okay. And I don't remember the exact wording that I said, but I said something along the lines of either yes, sure, okay, really not having any idea what was going on. This friend was about 30 years old, and he's been very close with my family, with my brothers and other friends of ours. He proceeded to have sex with me. I cried very openly, just crying the entire time until he finished. I got dressed and left. The next day, he gave me a high five. It took me a long time to really understand what happened with the situation. I was in denial for very many years. With the Me Too campaign and movement coming out, and I've read other people's stories, I've really started to validate the situation. And I'm wondering if this was sexual assault or rape. Even though I did say okay, my body language and the fact that I had just graduated high school, I was really drunk, makes me feel like I've always felt like it was a violation. But when I'm thinking about confronting this person now in terms of just telling him to leave me alone, I see him at a lot of weddings, different events between workplaces, and I really just hate being around him. And he'll come up, he'll try to hug me, he'll try to, high five me, and it just makes me want to burn my skin off. I hate being around him. So I'm wanting to confront him. I'm wanting to tell him, leave me the fuck alone. But I feel like I need a valid reason to tell him that and to be like, this is what you did to me. This is not okay. And this is why this isn't okay.
You have a perfectly valid reason to tell this piece of shit to go fuck himself. He raped you when you were 18 years old. He came into whatever room that you'd retired to when you were drunk to go to sleep, undressed you, took you to another room, penetrated you digitally with his fingers. That is sexual assault. That is rape. And then when you came to, he asked if this was okay. And you, in a state where you couldn't give him your meaningful consent, you in a state where you may have felt threatened or coerced, but setting that aside, you were just too fucking drunk for this to be going on, and he goddamn knew it. He fucked you while you cried the whole time until he finished. What kind of monster fuck someone while they weep. A rapist kind of monster. That's what kind of monster does that. The rapist brand version of monster does that. To a drunk 18-year-old girl who'd been passed out in another room, who's 12 years younger than he is, a piece of shit rapist does that. There's no need to parse anything here. This is a straight up rape. And you have every right to blow the fuck up at him. You have every right to tell everyone in your life what the fuck happened. If it makes you feel better, it's probably outside the statute of limitations now, but you can file a fucking police report. You never know when that's going to connect a bunch of dots and result in someone being brought to justice. And you don't have to high-five this piece of shit anymore. You don't have to look at him anymore. You have a right to say to your family, to your brother, that you will not be in the same room with the person who raped you when you were 18. Period. The end. And if he's there, you're not. And you are asking them, you are insisting that they choose you, the violated, and you are asking, no, not asking, you are insisting, you are demanding that your family prioritize your emotional safety over the feelings of this toxic piece of shit who, while he's still at family events, has access to other young, vulnerable female members of your family, and that you cannot stand for, and that they should not stand for. Period. The end. I'm so sorry this happened to you. Go tell this motherfucker to get the hell out of your life and the hell away from your family.
Hi, Dan and the Tech Savvy at-risk youth. I am a 26-year-old cisgender female from Canada, and I'm calling with a bachelorette party etiquette question. So I'm going to a bachelorette party next month, and one of the suggested activities is going to a drag show, and I know you've talked on the show before about how it's kind of tacky to celebrate straight marriage in the face of people that haven't always had access to the same rights. So my question is going to a sit-down show different than going and dancing at a club, and also is it different in celebrating that in Canada, where gay marriage has been legal since 2003. Also, I'm not sure how to navigate trying to steer the planning committee towards a different activity, because I don't want to come off confrontational, but I find the suggested activity kind of tacky.
Back before same-sex couples could legally marry, a whole bunch of gay bars, led by Sidetrack in Chicago, they went first, banned bachelorette parties. Because you have these crowds of straight girls woohooing their way into gay bars, celebrating their impending weddings. This right that all the other homos in the bar that night were denied. But now, with marriage equality having been achieved in Canada and the United States, fingers crossed that that achievement isn't rolled back by all of Donald Trump's appointments to the Supreme Court, people object a bit less to bridal parties showing up and getting obnoxious. In gay bars, Sidetrack rescinded their ban after the Obergefell ruling came down in 2015. That said, there are still people who are annoyed by bachelorette parties at drag shows and in gay bars. But bitching about the bachelorette parties at the drag show has become an integral part of the enjoyment of the drag show for a lot of people at the drag show. There's a bar in Seattle that has nothing but drag shows, and they sell bridal party packages. So they're welcoming bridal parties to the event and selling these packages. So obviously bridal parties are welcome at this particular drag show. You might want to inquire if you're concerned about the feelings of the drag performers in the bar that you're planning to take this bachelorette party to, as to whether you guys would be welcome. That would be above and beyond the Call of Duty consideration for the marginalized peoples that you will be celebrating your wedding in front of. And you probably will be welcome, so long as you remember to tip, and so long as you guys aren't messy drunk when you arrive. Save the drinking for when you're out. Don't get messy drunk and then go out. Pro tip. Final tip, though, my objection to bachelorette parties and bachelor parties isn't about where they happen. I don't give a shit where they happen. I am opposed to them happening at all, because what they symbolize, and we've talked about this before on the podcast, they reinforce what I think is a really dangerous notion. They reinforce this idea that undermines marriage, which is when you get married, the fun stops. When you get married, no more party. When you get married, no more hanging out with friends solo on your own and tearing up the town. That marriage is the end of fun and adventure and possibility and nightlife, and getting drunk with your buddies. And I think that's bad for marriage. And not everybody who has a bachelor or bachelorette party puts stock in that or believes that, but a lot of people do. And a lot of people have bachelorette parties to mark the end of their single life, the end of fun. I was just in Vienna. This plague of bachelorette parties has spread to Europe. And there was a bachelor party coming down the street. And the guy, the groom, you could tell who the groom was because all of his friends were dressed as prison guards and he was in a prison uniform and chains. I wouldn't marry that guy if he thought getting married to me was going to prison, unless we were going to a fetish prison and just for a weekend. I wouldn't marry that guy if he regarded me as prison, as jail, as incarceration. That was his idea and his friends' ideas of what marriage is. I'm not entering into a marriage with that guy. So I think you should have a conversation with your friends, not about where the bachelorette party is going, but why they're having a bachelorette party at all. And if your friend, the bride, the woman who's getting married, believes that marriage is the end of fun, not just that marriage is an opportunity to have this kind of ritualized fun and she will continue to have fun after she's married, you need to have a conversation with her about that. Because successful marriages, long ass term relationships, those two people are having fun together, having adventures together. Their wedding wasn't the end of possibility and the end of adventure. It was the beginning of a new kind. We've been talking a lot about working out on the show. It's such a great way to feel better about yourself, whatever your size, and support a healthy libido. That's why I highly approve of Aptiv. Aptiv offers expert trainers for the best results and motivation, a flexible audio workout format so you can work out the way you like, and a variety of classes and levels to keep you engaged. Whenever or wherever you like to work out, at the gym, at home, outside, when you're traveling for business, Aptiv is ready to go along with you with their mobile app. It's like having a personal trainer in your pocket. Aptiv's in-house music production team partners with every trainer to create music playlists that are perfectly timed to the intensity and pace of your workout. When you need that extra boost, the music keeps you going and keeps you motivated. When you're ready to slow things down, the intensity of the music dials down with you. They have 5K, 10K, half and full marathon training programs and a supportive community full of Aptiv members of all levels reaching for their fitness goals just like you. Aptiv is such a cool way to keep committed to working out. Subscriptions start at $14.99 billed monthly or $99.99 for an annual membership. For a limited time, new members get 30% off an annual membership, which is just $69.99 for the whole year of unlimited workouts. That is a lot cheaper than any other personal training deal you will find at any gym anywhere. Visit aptiv.com/savage. That's AAPTIV.com/savage.
Hey, Dan, Nancy, and Tech Savvy at-risk youth, 30-something male on the East Coast with a bisexual female partner in her late 20s. We had a very special guest star over last night. It was our first time with this girl coming over. She told us that she had a UTI, so penetrative sex was off the table. That was fine, so we ended up just going down on each other. While I was going down on her, the guest star, I noticed some funkiness, but I was just chalking it up to the UTI. I don't think I've actually gone down on a girl with a UTI before, so, didn't really know what to expect. Anyway, all of us finished that, and then we're cuddling afterwards and asked her if she has any kinks. She is reluctant to tell us, but she says that she does like to pee on people. So, that's okay. It's not for us, but, more power to you with that. I'm sure you'll find somebody that's into that out there. We tell her she can stay the night, but she opts to leave, so she goes home. We turn the lights on and then realize that she has actually peed everywhere. So while I was going down on her, that weirdness was her just emptying her bladder. And she peed through all of our sheets, through our comforter, through the mattress protector, into the mattress, and it is just awful. It smells like the worst pee. So, peeing and it was the UTI's fault, or maybe the UTI is a cover story. I don't know. I kind of doubt it. I think she just wanted to pee on me. So do I call her out on it? Is she maybe hoping that I'm going to freak out on her and, you know, she'll get off on that more too? I don't want that. But, I mean, mostly I'm just feeling violated and I don't know what to do about this. Dan, please help.
First thing you got to do is wash your sheets, flip your mattress over, and take your comforter to the dry cleaners. I have so many questions about what went down, you included. Your very special misbehaving guest star said she had a UTI and therefore wasn't up for penetrative sex, but a woman with a UTI usually isn't up for any sort of sex. Not oral sex, not penetrative sex, not masturbation, not anything. It's painful. And a woman with a UTI isn't going to want some scrapey-faced dude down between her legs pulling her urethra this way and that as he stimulates her labia and her clit with his tongue and face. No, that's not going to be pleasant. So I don't believe that she had a UTI. Or maybe she was on the tail end of a UTI, or maybe she just had a UTI and it cleared up and she's worried about getting a UTI again. I don't think she would have been in your bed and able to pee your bed if she'd actually had a UTI at the time of the very special guest star's arrival. So maybe she wasn't up for penetrative sex and just threw that out there to avoid penetrative sex for some reason. Or maybe she was in the tail end of a UTI and just was concerned about it roaring back and wanted to leave penetrative sex off the menu. Moving on, I don't think she peed when you were going down on her. You would have noticed the urine pouring out of her urethra, which is that little hole above the vaginal opening in all of her vulva business down there. You would have noticed particularly that much, but if your face is down there and she starts to pee, the first thing that was going to get wet was you. So I suspect that she, at some point during the session when you two were otherwise engaged, maybe there was a moment when you two were focused on each other and she was just taking you in, she let rip. She peed the bed while you two were distracted. Wasn't when you were going down on her. And this doesn't sound like an orgasm, doesn't sound like she's a squirter. It just sounds like she's a selfish asshole kinkster motherfucker who wanted to pee your bed and did. So what do? You call her up and say, that wasn't cool. If you ever want to talk to her again, you don't have to talk to her again. You don't have to call her up. You don't have to say anything to her again. Don't invite her over again unless she's scaldingly attractive and you two are willing to lay a tarp down. But if you want to create a little accountability moment, you can send her a message. You can even send her the bill for the dry cleaning of your comforter. Not that she's going to come through with any money. Someone who will pee your bed without your consent isn't going to send you a check when the bill arrives for having your comforter dry cleaned. So sorry this happened to you. Here at the Savage Lovecast, we want your bed to be inviting, sexy, comfortable. That's why we think you should get some beautiful new sheets from Boll and Branch. Everything Boll and Branch makes, from bedding to blankets, is made from pure 100% organic cotton, which means they start out super soft and get even softer over time. You buy directly from Boll and Branch, so you're essentially paying wholesale prices. Luxury sheets can cost up to $1,000 in the store, but Boll and Branch sheets are only a couple of $100. Everyone who tries Boll and Branch sheets loves them. That's why they have thousands of 5-star reviews, and Forbes, The Wall Street Journal, and Fast Company are all talking about Boll and Branch. Boll and Branch, they only use sustainable and responsible methods of sourcing and manufacturing. They donate a portion of every sale to charity to help fight human trafficking while preserving fair prices for consumers. Shipping is free, and you can try them for 30 nights. If you don't love them, send them back for a refund, but I doubt you'll want to send them back. There is literally no risk and no reason not to give Boll and Branch a try. To get you started right now, my listeners get $50 off your first set of sheets at bollandbranch.com by using the promo code SAVAGE. That's BOLL and branch.com, promo code SAVAGE. bollandbranch.com, promo code SAVAGE.
Hi, Dan. I'm a 23-year-old queer woman calling from upstate New York. So 2.5 years ago, I ended a relationship, an on and off again relationship, with a man who treated me terribly, and several of the acts that were committed verged the line between coercion and assault. Since that time, I've only dated women, and hooked up with women, and it's been wonderful, and I feel like I've really found myself in those relationships. But time and again, I feel myself attracted to men, but I feel unable to approach them to ask them out for two reasons. First, because I feel like it would diminish my status within the queer community I've found, and also because I feel concerned that these men would take advantage of me in the way I was taken advantage of in the past. I'm wondering what you would do in this situation, and I know that approaching the topic of women fearing men is a harmful stereotype that has been perpetuated about lesbianism for years, so I feel uncomfortable bringing this up in queer spaces. Thanks. Wondering your thoughts.
So the stereotype you mentioned there is that some women become lesbians not because they're particularly attracted to other women, but because they fear men or hate men, and so they settle for lesbianism. They settle for women, and that is indeed a stereotype. What isn't a stereotype, and what is actually a fact, is that there are a lot of women out there who are lesbians who've had shitty, awful experiences with men. There are a lot of women out there who are bi, like you are, who've had shitty, awful experiences with men, and there are a lot of women who are straight out there who've had shitty, awful experiences with men, because not all men, hashtag not all men, are awful, but a number of men, a great deal of men, are testosterone-soaked dick monsters and are violent and are sexually coercive or sexually abusive to their female partners, not to strangers. 53% of women who are murdered by boyfriends or husbands. Most women who are sexually assaulted aren't sexually assaulted or raped by strangers. They're sexually assaulted or raped by intimate partners, or, as with the caller earlier, people they know, friends of their brothers, friends of the family, or family members. So hard to pull those two things apart. Yeah, there are a lot of women out there who are lesbians who've had terrible experiences with men. Because women are socialized to defer to men, and because women's sexuality is so much more controlled and suppressed than male sexuality, a lot of queer women don't perceive themselves to be queer, don't arrive at that self-perception and self-actualization until a little later in life. A lot of gay boys coming out at 15, a lot of lesbians coming out at 25 is another cliche and stereotype. Not always true, but often true, broadly true. You meet a lot more late in life coming out now as lesbian adult women than you meet late in life now coming out as gay men, which is not to say they don't exist, but you meet a lot more lesbians who came out later in life than you meet gay men who came out later in life. Although I got a question today from a guy in his 60s who just came out and his whole family's freaking out. So it does happen, but those are data points, not trends. So that was your second concern, like this stereotype. And you don't have to worry about the stereotype, and your actions aren't going to prove or disprove the stereotype. And anyone who hears your story and then slots it into lesbians are lesbians because they hate and fear men is just a jerk with a bad case of confirmation bias looking for data points that support his or her prejudice and bias about why queer people are queer people, in particular why lesbians are lesbians, or lesbian identified bi women are lesbian identified bi women, which would seem to be the case with you. You've entered the queer community. You are dating women exclusively over the last 2.5 years. You don't say that you're lesbian identified. Perhaps you just allowed people to identify you by default as a lesbian based on the last 2.5 years of your dating and mating history. And now you're worried about complicating that, diminishing your status in the queer community by touching a dick. And I think you need to set that aside. You're bi. You're into men and women. Last couple of years, you were only up for women for reasons, for your own reasons, for perfectly good and legitimate reasons. And now you're interested in approaching the occasional dude. And you just have to own that and own it unashamedly. And if more bi people do that in queer spaces, this attitude that somebody who's bi is somehow less queer or less pure of a queer or less valuable a queer will fall by the wayside in time. But it's going to take bi people being loudly out and loudly themselves and unashamedly, unapologetically themselves in queer spaces to get us there. How's that cliche go? Be the change you want to see in the world. You have that power here in your upstate New York community. As for your concern that you might be taken advantage of or abused by some new dude in the way you were abused by that dude 2.5 years ago, that is a perfectly legitimate concern. And that is always a risk in interpersonal relationships, that you may wind up with someone who's charismatic and loving and kind at first, but is an abuser with an agenda to wear you down, to turn you into that proverbial frog in the pot of boiling water and keep you there long enough to isolate you and abuse you. So what you need to do going into any new relationships for your own sense of safety and security is to vet guys, is to date them for a while. None of this is foolproof. People have dated and vetted and wound up with abusers. So you date and you vet and you look out for the red flags. Does he try to separate you from your friends? Does he insist on knowing where you are at all times? Is he jealous and insecure in a way that edits your freedoms, where you begin curtailing where you go and what you do and who you're with to avoid upsetting him or angering him? And you tell any guy that you're going to get involved with that you have this history of abuse and you won't put up with it. And you're out if he does anything that makes you feel uncomfortable or unsafe. It's over and it's not a negotiation. You're done and you're out. And you rely on your support network. You confide in your friends about what your relationship is like, how you're being treated, how you process and resolve conflict in your relationship. And there'll always be conflict in relationships. And if your friends start raising red flags themselves, if your friends start giving you the side eye and saying, girl, you got to listen to them. One last thing to look out for when you're dating someone and you're worried about being with an asshole is how they talk about their exes. Women, ladies, anybody really, but particularly women, if everyone he's ever dated, every ex he's ever had is a bitch and a whore that he can't stand and he's still furiously angry with, you're the next bitch whore. And he's going to be furiously angry with you while you're in relationship with him. That, I think, is one of the under-heralded signs of the abuser. Hates all their exes. Watch out for that one, too. Some of us are deeply suspicious of the fashion industry. I'm looking at you, Hartunian, and you're looking at me. We're both those people, but we endorse Everlane. It's why we endorse Everlane. They make beautiful, durable clothing, and they keep industry ethics in mind. Everlane started with a basic t-shirt and a simple but bold idea that they could set a new standard for the retail industry. They are built on 3 pillars. Everlane makes beautiful, long-lasting products, so they only use high-quality materials, and they are, like me, trend-averse. So they're not just a fast fashion brand that leads to a lot of waste in the retail industry. Instead, they are focused on making classic clothing that can be used and worn year after year after year. Ethics. Everlane only works with ethical factories, constantly vetting and evaluating factors like fair wages and safety. They're also environmentally conscious. For example, their denim factory, unlike most manufacturers that produce tons of waste, recycles 98% of its water waste, repurposes byproduct, and sends it to a local brick factory, which then gets used to build affordable housing. And a big thing at Everlane that I love, transparency in pricing. Everlane reveals how much each item costs, from materials to labor to transportation, and what their markup is. They believe their customers have a right to know how much their clothes cost to make. Everlane only makes premium essentials using the finest materials without traditional markups, and they tell you their real costs, so you know you're never overpaying. Everlane's timeless essentials are just what you're looking for. No frills, just quality. Terry and I both love the clothing we've gotten from Everlane, and so does Nancy. And she's picky. She's wearing a very nice cotton double V tank right now. Looking good, Nance. And right now, you can check out my personalized collection at everlane.com/savage. Plus, you'll get free shipping on your order. That's everlane.com/savage. everlane.com/savage.
Hi, Dan. I'm calling mostly trying to find some community around an identity question I've been sort of circling around for a number of years now. I have been questioning my gender identity for a long time. I'm 26. I've been, I guess, aware of this sort of question in my life since I was about 4 or 5, so basically my whole life. And I've figured out that I am assigned female at birth. I present mostly feminine. I identify as lesbian. I present anywhere between androgynous to high femme. I enjoy that fluidity. I use she, her pronouns, and so to the world's eyes, people almost always see me as a cisgender woman, which is accurate but doesn't seem to capture the whole picture for me. I guess I have some body dysphoria, and that if I could create my own body, I would have like a woman's physique, the breasts, and everything except that I would have male genitalia. So I would have breasts, but also penis. And I have just never heard of another person with this particular fantasy. I've been trying to find some trans or genderqueer community. I live in Chicago, so fortunately that's not too hard. But I sometimes just feel lonely and like I don't belong even in those spaces because I just never find somebody quite like me who kind of wants to be both male and female at the same time. And like I love presenting feminine socially. I love being perceived as a woman. I love thinking of myself as a woman, but I want a dick. That's not just a strap-on, a real dick. I'm just calling to see if any other listeners can relate to this. Yeah, so other listeners, if you feel at all similarly to the way I do, I would really love to hear from you.
I've been receiving letters at Savage Love, the column, 27 years, way back pre-internet. And the entire time, every once in a while in the mailbag, there is a letter from a woman, every once in a while, who wishes that she had a penis, who would very much like to have, quote-unquote, male genitalia. Maybe not all the time, but once in a while. And occasionally get letters from men who are happy with their sex that they were assigned at birth, but would like to have a vagina. Vaginas are powerful. They chew up spunk and spit out humans. Who wouldn't want one of those? So I don't think that you're alone in the world. The best you can do right now, short of a phalloplasty, is that strap-on. And living with the tension and living with the contradiction. There's probably no resolution here for you. You're an interesting, complicated person with a complicated gender identity. You fall on that gender spectrum in a not entirely unique place. There are others like you out there, and I'm sure we will get calls from them. But don't look at where you are or what you've got or what you want as a problem in need of a solution. It is who you are. And you can enjoy who you are, and you can explore having a penis through fantasy and role play and strap-on arenas and be who you are and be content. Don't torture yourself. Enjoy it. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy your gender identity and enjoy its contradictions. And in a way, enjoy its frustrations. You are an unresolvable mystery, and you should present as such. We're going to take a quick break from your calls to speak with Erica Moen, the cartoonist behind Oh Joy Sex Toy, a weekly comic about sex toys and sex education that you can find at ohjoysextoy.com. And every once in a while, we invite Erica onto the Lovecast to recommend a sex toy to us. So, hey there, Erica. How are you?
Doing really well. How are you?
Great. So what do you got for us? What's the sex toy du jour?
Okay, so I'm recommending a sex toy that I have not personally used, but my husband has. And so if you've got a penis, whatever your gender may be, this is a toy recommendation for your cock. It is called the Flip Zero, and it's by Tenga. And it's a masturbation. I'm not sure if they call it a sleeve or not, but it's a big hunk of material with a case on it that you stick your dick in, and apparently it feels real good.
And does Matt, your partner, Matt, you guys do Oh Joy Sex Toy together, does he recommend it? Did he enjoy it?
Oh, yeah, he loves it. It's his current favorite.
Oh, I hope that doesn't make you feel bad.
Oh, no, not at all. It's like, we're not always in sync. Like, when sometimes he's horny, but I'm not, or I'm horny, but he's not. Or I'm at work and we work in two separate locations. And it's like, yeah, he just has an afternoon wank. And, yeah, this is the current go-to.
So what are the bells and whistles? Or is it just, it sounds like you're describing kind of a high-end fleshlight.
Yeah, actually. Okay, so what it is, it's this case that actually flips open so you can see the material inside. And it's not silicone, it's something called TPE. I'm not actually sure what the difference is, but don't tell anybody I said that. And inside, it's got these really cool shapes, and it looks like a labyrinth for your penis to push inside of. And then you stick your dick in it, and then you close it down on it. And it kind of makes a little seal. And then there's this pressure pad on the outside of the case. And you can push on it, and you can get the suction to be exactly what you want. So you customize how much force is going to be pulling on your cock. And then you just go to town on it. I said to Matt, okay, so what should I tell Dan Savage? And he said, quote, feels good, and quote, I like this one. So there you go.
And Matt's British, so everyone should know from a Brit, that's kind of a rave review because Brits can be pretty reserved.
Yeah, that is a rave review from my British boy. It is $99, and it's really good. It's a good fit for the average size cock. The thing with Fleshlight is their things are freaking huge. And if you have like a monster cock, I'm sure that's great. But if you're an average person, your dick kind of like gets lost in them a little bit. Like there's just so much extra space that you can't even fill. And it's like, I don't know. It's a lot.
Yeah, I've dated that guy. So I know the pain of which you speak.
Well, but if you are an average person, which is most people, this is just the right size for the average size cock.
And they're $99, and where can you get them?
You can get it from Tenga-global.com, or you can also get it from any sex store, honestly.
And the name of the toy again?
The name of the toy is the Flip Zero.
It's the Tenga Flip Zero.
Yes. Although, here's the thing. The website says it's Flip Zero, but also, like, I've seen it called the Flip Hole Zero, too. So I don't know if there's, like, some name flip-flopping depending on where you're looking for it. But, I don't know. You look up Tenga, look up Flip, look up Zero. That combination of words should bring it up.
Erica Moen, cartoonist behind Oh Joy's Sex Toy with her reserved Brit husband, Matt. It's a weekly comic about sex toys and sex education. Check it out at ohjoysextoy.com. Erica, thanks for jumping on the phone.
Oh, my pleasure. Hi, Dan, longtime listener. Quick question. I have an issue where when I like dating, and I enjoy dating guys, but after I have sex with them, I no longer like them. I once went 3 years dating a guy, never had sex with him. He never pushed me. We dated for 3 years. It was great. He wanted to get married. I had sex with him and then just no longer liked him anymore and didn't agree to be engaged. So is something wrong with me? I can't figure out why I just no longer like the guys I date after I sleep with them just one time, and then I just no longer want to be with them again. Or is it just some kind of weird instinct, hunter instinct? I don't know.
Mental health professionals for a very long time defined any sort of kink as basically a mental illness. But they've moved away from that, thank God, and now the posture of the mental health community is that a sexual fetish or a kink is only a problem in someone's life or their romantic relationships if it causes significant personal distress. Toss that out there because my first impulse after listening to your question was, are you upset about this? Does this make you sad? Is this fucking up your life? And that doesn't come across in your tone of voice. You don't sound particularly distressed. I bet, though, if I got that guy on the phone that you dated for 3 years who wanted to marry you and had proposed to you and then you wanted nothing to do with and hated right after you fucked him, I bet he's pretty distressed by that experience. Probably pretty traumatized by that experience, by the investment, the emotional investment he made in you. I don't think, knowing what you know about yourself, that you can allow, ethically, you can allow men to make that kind of investment in you or any kind of investment in you, so long as you are suffering from this problem. And I do think it's a problem. And I think it's not one that I'm going to be able to unpack or cure or reverse for you on this here podcast. The word sex negativity and sex phobia, these terms, they get tossed around a lot. And we're so steeped in it, we're so soaking in sex negativity and sex phobia that sometimes we don't even perceive it. Like the fish doesn't know what fucking water is. And I think that, and maybe this is kind of an obvious reading of the problem here. I think that when you fuck somebody, first time that you have sex with somebody, you can't stand them anymore. And that is you externalizing your own internal sex phobia or sex shame. Rather than being mad at or disgusted with and wanting to get away from yourself, which is impossible to get away from yourself. You're mad at yourself, disgusted with yourself, can't get away from yourself. Instead, you just flip all of that and you're mad or disgusted or must get away from that guy. And you need to unpack that at great length with a fucking shrink to get to the bottom of it and root that out. If it is causing you as much distress as you are causing the people that you date. If you can't undo this, you do have options. If what you want is a long-term, intimate, romantic relationship that has no sex, or sex never comes in and spoils it, there's certainly guys out there that you could have that kind of relationship with. There are guys out there who are low to no libido. There are guys out there who are closet cases, who want to do dudes on the side and go home to the wife who makes no sexual demands on them at all. You could partner, hopefully ethically, openly, honestly, with one of those guys, and then every once in a while bang a dude on the side that you're never going to see again, basically can't get over this issue, this problem that you have. If you can't get over this issue, if you can't get over this problem that you have. And I think that you can get over it. I think working with a therapist who can get to the bottom of your sex phobia, your sex negativity, and root it out, then maybe you'll get to a place where you can fuck a guy more than once and still want to see him again.
Dan, 35-year-old straight woman from Oklahoma. Question for you. My coworkers and I are riding to have a couple of drinks, and the topic of swingers came up. And they believe that if you're a swinger, and maybe it's just here in Oklahoma, but if you're a swinger, you put pineapples out in front of your house, or maybe white rocks. Decorations, pineapple decorations. Thank you. Is this true?
For hundreds of years, pineapple was a symbol of hospitality. That's why you see it incorporated into a lot of architectural motifs. It also projected wealth, because not everybody in England could easily access a fucking pineapple. So if somebody had pineapples, they had enough money to have pineapples. And if somebody had enough money to have pineapples, they had enough money to pay an architect to stick a few pineapples in the decorative motif of their mansion. According to Urban Dictionary, I Googled this for you because you couldn't Google it for yourself. The upside down pineapple on the porch or mailbox is a sign that swingers put out there to let people know who are coming to their house for a swingers party that a swingers party is underway in that place. That I did not know until you called and prompted me to Google it for you. I know that now. I wouldn't put a lot of stock in it. If I saw a pineapple out of someone's house, I wouldn't knock on the door and invite myself into the swingers party that may or may not be going on. Kind of reminds me of earrings. In the 70s, everyone said, oh, if they've got the left ear pierced, then they're gay. Or was it the right? No one could remember if it was the right ear or the left ear or both ears, so you never really knew if a dude with a pierced ear was gay or not, and you certainly wouldn't want to hit on a dude based on your best guess as to whether that was the gay earlobe or the both earlobes were the gay earlobes or whatever it was. So I think this is a nice urban myth. I don't think it's anything anyone should act on should they spot a pineapple outside a ranch house. But yeah, happy to Google that for you.
Dan, I'm calling in response to the Irish girl whose ex-boyfriend ghosted her and is now getting pictures posted with his quote-unquote new girlfriend. I think you missed something. I think that the quote-unquote new girlfriend was the girlfriend the entire time. I think our poor Irish girl was the other woman, and he was hiding her from the woman who is now posting pictures of him on her Instagram. But also, I was going to say, what she should do is contact that chick through Instagram. This is petty, I admit. But she should contact that chick and just say, hey, just so you know, I have no idea how long you've been with this guy, but I was with him from this date to this date. Have a nice life.
Hi, Dan. I'm calling in response to the woman on episode 615 who was concerned about whether her personal trainer supported gay rights or not. Your response was great, and I wanted to add that you can often find that information from a church's website. Many supportive churches will post rainbow flags or will be in what is called the Reconciling Ministries Network. Many pastors and congregations do actively fight for the rights of LGBTQ people. My church goes to the Pride Parade every year and will be out this weekend protesting the Unite the Right rally. Embracing your Christian allies takes power away from the bigoted evangelicals, so please don't be prejudiced against all Christians.
Hello, caller from episode 615 who wants to meet big, strong women. You're from the Midwest. There are farms in the Midwest. There are girls who grew up working cows and horses on farms in the Midwest. They would love to boss you around in a nice vanilla way, in a kinky way, in whatever way you all could possibly want. But farm girls, we're big, we're strong, we're happy to boss you around.
And we're going to leave it there. 206-302-2064 is the number here at the Savage Lovecast. If you'd like to record a question or a comment for a future show, give us a buzz. And please note that tickets for the 14th Annual Hump Film Festival go on sale August 15th at 10 a.m. The opening of this year's festival will take place in November in Seattle, Portland, and for the first time ever, San Francisco. Only audiences at the opening festival screenings in those three cities get to vote and decide which films take home the $20,000 in cash prizes, including the $10,000 Best in Show prize awarded by audience ballot. Limited discount early bird tickets available. Get them while you can at humpfilmfest.com. And there is still time to submit a film to Hump. The deadline to make and submit a film to Hump is September 14th at 3 p.m. For all the information that you'll need to submit a film and for more information about the $20,000 in cash prizes given away at Hump every year, go to humpfilmfest.com/submit. Follow me on Twitter at Fake Dan Savage. Follow Erica Moen on Twitter at Erica Moen. That's Erica with a K, and Moen is spelled M-O-E. The Savage Lovecast is produced every week by Nancy Hartooni and me and the tech-savvy at-risk youth. And Nancy will all be back at you next week with an installment of the Savage Lovecast. Thanks for downloading.